George Vidlac, my wife Lynn, and I purchased our place at 17 Bermuda Landing in 1989. It has a wonderful view from the upper deck of the Intercoastal Waterway, and we're close to the ocean. It's almost an ideal situation. A friend of mine made the statement that, gee, you're getting so much aggravation from the HOA, it's almost like they want you to sell it at any price, which, hey, it's a nice place. It's mine, I like it. Our annual dues are $1,680 a year, and we don't have a sliding scale, so repairs and everything should be equitable. And at one time I escrowed 3 quarterly payments to state that, hey, they're in an escrow account until something happens around here. The repairs have to be equitable, and then got a letter from the HOA, you can't do that, and the lawyer advised pay it off with penalties, etc., start on ground zero. Did. A lawyer wrote a letter for me for $100 stating some discrepancies that should be taken care of. For one, for a 7-year period, there was a hole underneath a double window. That hole underneath the double window, 2 neighbors were communicating one day and said, hey, the support beams are probably going to be deteriorating, and they did. The HOA came in on May 8th and worked for 3 weeks and then vacated the premises. Scaffold came down, 4 letters were written. The third one would list everything promised and what was delivered. That was 0 on that. And in the 4th letter, a lawyer suggested write the letter and say that the paper trail ends here because there is no communication on the part of the HOA. In that letter, a 3-week window of opportunity was given. The 3-week window of opportunities stated complete the project as indicated by the covenants, or materials will be bought and someone will be hired. Again, it was ignored. And 3 weeks after the scaffold came down, by my mailbox, the president of the HOA was out there, and he said, have people been visiting your place? And I said, I really don't know, because 5 days a week I'm in aqua aerobics and then working several days during the week. And he said, wait, he said, I'll go over to the house and I'll get you a list. And I referred to this as his gotcha list. There were 5 people listed. Most of them worked for North Topsail Beach. There was a fire marshal, there was a CAMA person, building inspectors, and there was a guy there whose job it was to take care of runoff that would go into the Intercoastal Waterway. I have big containers, small hole in the bottom. If it would rain and there would be any runoff, it would be under the circle underneath the pots. And several months later, I got a call from Onslow County Social Services. Tiffany Valor wanted me to come in for an interview, and during the course of the interview, she asked, what is your doctor's name and where can I locate him? And I thought it was trivial, so I gave her that. 3 weeks later, I had an appointment with my doctor, and he said, what have you done to be in trouble with the law? And I said, nothing. And he said, your entire medical records were requested. And I said, you didn't give them to him, did you? And yes, I did. It's required by state law. And At the gym, a retired doctor said if anyone has those medical records, they could read into that anything that they want. We have an annual termite inspection to make sure that they are not in the facility. We had our inspection on the 2nd of April, and Norman was in charge of coming out and treating if there was a termite infestation. He had back surgery. So 5 months and a week. Treatment was made September 8th, which was over 5 months. And according to the Orkin commercials, termites work 24/7. Now the entire back section, an 8x15 structure, 2 stories, had to be torn down, 2x4s replaced and rebuilt. Total cost of that was $9,975. Fallout from the stress factor involved with this, with type 2 diabetes, you take a A1C test. The normal range should be around 6.0. Mine escalated up to 11.3, which is a danger zone. I have type 2 diabetes, and at a 3-month interval, they take a blood test which monitors how your sugar readings were every day during that 3-month period. And desired end result should be 6.0. With the stress, with this entire situation by the HOA, it escalated to 11.3, which is a danger zone. And consequently, I brought that down to 7.5 3 months later, and then 3 months later, 7.1. During that high of 11.3, the range should be, for a type 2 diabetic, should be anywhere from 90 to 120. And a nurse was coming in to change the dressing on a foot ulcer, and she wanted to see the readings. And I told her that over the past few days I've had HI, high. And she said, that's a danger signal. It means that your glucose readings were over 500, and if it's over 500, you could go into a coma, which isn't desirable. Over in Northern Virginia, I took the Master Gardener class, and on 3 years, I was asked, will I use that supposed expertise to take care of the grounds at our subdivision without any compensation. And 2 letters were written by the HOA thanking me for donating my time, etc. And 3rd year, we had 3 write-in candidates win positions on the board. And they asked me, would you take care of the grounds? Again, 500 was allocated, but perennials had been removed by the grass cutters, and they needed replaced, and someone ran a computer program saying that for the areas that we should mulch, it would cost about $1,200. We had the 500. So then we had a community yard sale and bought the perennials and bought the mulch as needed. My cash outlay for all of the exterior repairs, termite damage, cleaning the black mold within the unit was $37,721. Now, in the $303.67 that I was fined for throwing away $5,617 worth of new building materials. I got it and I ignored it because I never should have bought any of the materials. That's the obligation of the HOA with the covenants, and they escalated that up to $35,661.42. And then they said, let's negotiate, and you forget the money that you paid out over the $37,000. We'll forget about our $35,000 in fines, etc. But hey, none of that should have occurred at all. The obligation is to do the exterior repairs, and they weren't done. And that's that. I had mentioned before the gotcha list, and I know that Tommy Best, the fire marshal, had visited. I'd gone to Second Wind for the aerobics classes, and the neighbor said, hey, the fire marshal was around your place. So I stopped in to see Tommy. And Tommy said that he received several phone calls, go out to 17 Bermuda Landing. He said, when I went out, he said, all I saw were building materials. And the unit was in the process of having the siding put up. So there was no major problem there. This, with the 4 letters that were written and no communication, this should have not progressed at all. It should have been nipped in the bud, because the HOA is responsible for exterior repairs because of the covenants. They were ignored. So the letters were written, and I got a bill from the HOA. They said, hey, you owe us $7,700 in lawyer's fees, and there's also time to prepare for the mediation that added about $2,000 onto it, and all of this should have been resolved by communication. Talk is cheap, lawyers are not. Thank you for your time.